Clayton, it's an honor to be here, man. I wouldn't rather be anywhere else right now to break this story. So thank you for having me here.
Well, my pleasure. When you brought me this story about a week ago, I couldn't believe it. So why don't you just give us, our audience a sense of what's happening here? Antony Blinken at the center of this, Guatemala, the largest and the child trafficking capital of the world. And we think about so many of these children that wind up in the United States, but it's all being facilitated at the highest levels of the Biden administration. So that's sort of the context here, but I'll let you run with it.
Yeah, Clayton. So my documentary released a couple of weeks ago, and right after it released, I had got it translated into Spanish. And the second that it posted in Spanish, 24 hours later, I was contacted by the Attorney General's office of Guatemala. They had asked if I could come to Guatemala and speak for their team. They had a lot of stuff that they wanted to tell me about what was going on over here in America, and then specifically the missing children from Guatemala. So I told them that I couldn't come down till January 20th. The next night, I have a Twitter space. And about 5 citizens from Guatemala show up and they start begging me to come to Guatemala. And they tell me that 20 children yesterday alone were kidnapped. So I said, wait, you had what? They said, yeah, 20 Amber Alerts went out yesterday alone. 20 children are being kidnapped from our country almost every single day. And that's just what's getting reported. So then I started to dig into the numbers and how many specifically. I knew that 60 to 70% of these children were coming from 3 countries, Guatemala, Ecuador, and El Salvador. But I didn't understand how many specifically were coming from Guatemala. So I started to dig into it, and I uncovered that out of that 438,000 that I present in the documentary, we had talked about several times on your show, out of that, 42 to 48% are coming from Guatemala. So to give your audience an idea, that's 212,940 children since the Biden administration has taken office have been kidnapped or trafficked out of Guatemala and arrived at the United States border without a parent. To put that into context, their population is 18 million, Clayton. So roughly 1 to 2% of their population has been kidnapped and trafficked into America. So that's kind of the pretext on what got me invited to Guatemala.
So this isn't, and this isn't just coincidence. This is to have that kind of scale of an operation. I think that's what most Americans just can't wrap their head around. That Alejandro Mayorkas, Antony Blinken, they have facilitated this invasion and the trafficking of these children. So when I see how people were crying in their Cheerios about Kamala Harris losing this election, I just can't wrap my head around. You don't understand the level of sophistication, the size and scale of this child sex trafficking operation that's been run by the Biden administration, right? So this would have to be, to your mind, like a military scale operation to get these many children out of Guatemala and into the United States, no?
100% clean.
Hey there, Patriots. This is True Outlaw Patriot coming at you with another one. The video clip that I just showed you came out, I believe, a day or two ago by Redacted. And it talks about the child trafficking that's been going on that everybody pretty much knows about, okay? And if you don't know, you've probably been under a rock, or you just don't care to know or pay attention, okay? Even though I know that there are some people that don't want to think and fathom that, that type of scenario going on. No matter how much you ignore it, it is happening, okay? And it's been happening for a very, very long time. This video that I'm putting together tonight, it's gonna be a little different. I'm gonna jump different scenes, but eventually we're going right back to see some more of that video clip by Redacted, and that guy that he has on that's explaining what's going on. And I encourage everybody to watch the video to the end, because there's something very shocking that I didn't even know, okay? And when I found it out, I mean, it literally blew my mind, okay? Now, as far as the information being true, only time will tell, okay? And the way things have been going on, the way all the dirt has been exposed, going towards the left, as far as their dirty laundry being aired out, a lot of the things that they're claiming that are not true are coming out little by little, okay? The truth is coming out little by little. As of late, as a matter of fact, I should say, a lot more has been coming out. So, like I said, I encourage everybody, watch this video. like I said, when I found out, it literally blew my mind. So it's something that a lot of people need to start asking questions about. And if it is true, this can't be, it can't be swept under the rug. Okay? And one would have to hope and pray that when Donald Trump gets back into the White House, that there will be a major investigation. And let's just put it this way, okay? I know that Biden has been giving out pardons left and right, but there's one pardon in particular that I don't know if he can give it or not, or it's not something, it's, you know, that you have to give this certain person because they're protected no matter what. You'll understand what I mean when I point out the shocking part of this video that I saw. Okay, so bear with me. Okay, I haven't been on in a couple of days. Work's been busy and all that. So I'm gonna jump to this video real quick. Okay, that was put out by Liberal Hive Mind. And if anybody sees my thumbnail, the face in the thumbnail is that despicable leftist kid, Harry Sisson, okay, one of Biden's lapdogs, and like seriously, a lapdog. Everybody, like I said, everybody knows that Biden has been giving out a lot of pardons, but let's go down the rabbit hole and see to exactly who he was giving these pardons to. Okay, so let's play some of these video clips. Let's get into it and sit back and let's check this out. Here we go.
Sisson here also released this video.
We have some major breaking news. President Biden just pardoned 39 people and commuted roughly 1,500 sentences in the largest single-day act of clemency in American history. The commutations announced Thursday morning are for people who have served out home confinement sentences for at least 1 year after they were released. And those who received pardons had been convicted of nonviolent crimes such as drug offenses, and they turned their lives around. In a statement released by the White House, President Biden said, "America was built on the promise of possibility and second chances. As president, I have the great privilege of extending mercy to people who have demonstrated remorse and rehabilitation, restoring opportunity for Americans to participate in daily life." Biden also said he'd be taking more steps in the weeks ahead and will continue to review clemency petitions. So this is a great move by President Biden, especially with all those pardons for people who have really turned their lives around and are giving back to their communities. And this just adds to President Biden's fantastic legacy in office. I mean, just really, really good stuff.
Ah yes, the typical Harry Sisson video where he's fawning over Joe Biden, lobbing praise to Joe Biden's so-called act of kindness here in granting clemency to so many deserving individuals. According to Harry here, Biden's move is a shining example of compassionate leadership. Great job, Joe Biden. What a compassionate, incredible leader you are. The typical brown-nosing Harry Sisson video, delivered with a big ol' smile. But behind that smile, it gets a little bit disturbing, frankly. Because one of the individuals that Joe Biden granted clemency to is a man by the name of Shan Lin Jin. And let me tell you a little something about Shan Lin Jin, because let's just say this isn't your average clemency case. Shan Lin Jin was arrested back in January of 2021, where he pled guilty to possessing 47,000 inappropriate child images, let's just say that. Let me repeat, 47,000. We're not talking about just a minor lapse in judgment or a one-off mistake. We're talking about a man who hoarded tens of thousands of images depicting some of the most heinous and soul-crushing crimes imaginable. Not to mention, court records showed that Jin's family is connected to influential members of the Chinese Communist Party. And not to mention, during his trial, an FBI special agent testified about these ties, which adds another layer of complexity to the case now, doesn't it? Yeah, you pretty much get where I'm going with this. Harry Sisson presents this whole thing as Joe Biden doing the right thing, an act of kindness and clemency. This is the DNC's spokesperson who has the audacity to claim that Trump supporters are, quote, being played. If he blindly pushes this nonsense, can't even really call it nonsense, let's call it these horrifying actions from the president. It's not just this Shan Lin Jin character, but also the commuting of Rita Crundwell's sentence. Another criminal, a woman who embezzled over $53 million from a small Illinois town and spent it on luxury goods, real estate, and a horse breeding business. A blatant act of corruption and betrayal to the nation and its voters. But Harry Sisson just puts on the mask and presents it to everybody, to his TikTok audience, to his propaganda victims, let's be real here, and just sings Joe Biden's praise. Yeah, I don't think
Okay, I'm gonna leave that at that. Okay, so you guys heard that. Okay, this little, I mean, for lack of a better term, I mean, I when I watch this kid talk, okay, all I see is a little pompous prick. That's all I see. Okay, just a little pompous prick that, you know what, he gets on TV, he spews all this stuff for Joe Biden. I mean, he's the lapdog that sits there and basically licks the drool off of Biden's lips. Okay, like the little puppy that he is. You heard what Liberal Hive Mind said about that one guy that Joe Biden pardoned for having 47,000, one would guess, X-rated photos or videos or whatever of children. Okay. The next one was a woman that he pardoned that embezzled what he said $53 million. Okay, from a small town, basically just going against, you know, the people in the town. Another video that I wasn't able to get my hands on, but it's out there. Another woman that he pardoned, which I find very strange, okay, was a woman that was arrested in Arkansas, okay, on drugs. Now, the thing about it is he pardoned her, and she basically only had about a year left on her probation. Now, here's the thing. She's been freed for like the past 14 years. Okay? She's been on probation. I mean, she started her own business, I mean, doing the right thing and all that, but he pardoned the rest of her sentence. To me, that's neither here nor there. I just think it's stupid. Okay, it's like she had like a year to go. I mean, she turned her life around, gave her life to God. She's doing the right thing. What's he getting by pardoning something like, you know, a person like that? She's basically, you know, doing what she's supposed to do. But by him pardoning that guy who was arrested, okay, for basically child pornography, okay, pardoning the woman who embezzled $53 million from a small town, okay, everybody, I'm not gonna say everybody, because obviously anybody with a right, you know, with the right mind, it's not gonna, you know, fall for it. But this kid comes out and makes it seem that what Joe Biden is doing is great. But we're gonna go deeper down this rabbit hole because it gets really good. So stay with me, okay? What this freaking prick won't say, okay, is basically another person that Joe Biden pardoned, okay? It was actually one of two, and they were actually involved, and I don't know if anybody remembers the story, Cash for Kids, okay? I believe it was out in Pennsylvania, where basically two judges, okay, were basically giving sentences to kids to put them in group homes for money. Okay? One of them, okay, is in his 70s, I believe, or he will be in his 70s, or something to that effect. Who gives a shit? Okay? Both of them are judges. Okay? But Joe Biden went and pardoned one. Okay? Now, will Harry Sisson say something like that? Of course not. Of course not. No more than he would say about the Chinese guy or Asian guy or whatever that he pardoned for having child pornography. But yet he's going to sit here and say that what Joe Biden is doing is the best thing since sliced bread, as if the man walks on water. Okay? Now, if nobody knows the story about the Cash for Kids, let's get to that video clip so everybody can see what I'm talking about. Here we go. Okay, before I play this clip, I just want to give a quick shout out to all my new subscribers and all my subscribers here on YouTube and on Rumble. So don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe, pass the channel around. And if you can help support the channel, there's a link in my description to my Cash App and my merch store. So we're going to play this clip about another piece of shit, okay, that Biden pardoned, okay? And this kid Harry Sisson thinks, like I said, that Biden walks on water for doing it. Check this out.
Facing pushback from both sides after commuting the sentence of a former Pennsylvania judge, Michael Conahan, who was at the center of the Kids for Cash scandal and convicted of being paid off to lock up juveniles. The move upsetting many across the state, including Governor Josh Shapiro.
I do feel strongly that President Biden got it absolutely wrong. This was not only a black eye on the community, the Kids for Cash scandal, but it also affected families in really deep and profound and sad ways.
It's our Pittsburgh-based columnist and Washington Examiner national political reporter Selena Zito joins us now. Selena, good morning to you. This is a particularly ugly scandal there in Pennsylvania. Now, President Biden, and I think the largest day of clemency he's ever granted 1,500 sentences commuted. This included this judge that was funneling juveniles to private prisons in exchange for kickback money. Why would Biden do this? I mean, you can hear Shapiro there asking basically the same question. Why?
Yeah, that was a profound scandal in our state. It cut across the whole state. It happened in Biden's backyard. He often liked to talk about how he was from Scranton and he had Scranton roots. And I just don't understand this decision. I mean, this had a devastating impact on families. There was one young man who was a wrestler, and anybody knows anything about Pennsylvania, wrestling is the top sport over football. And, he was just got into this like minor drug paraphernalia charge, sent off to this private prison, which this judge received kickbacks from, and he was never the same. He missed his senior year of high school, all that sort of aspirational things that you want as a 17-year-old. And within a couple of years, he committed suicide. I mean, this was devastating in our state. That he was let out is just vulgar. I can't think of a better word other than vulgar.
It's funny the way, when Donald Trump was pardoning people, which every president does this at the end of their presidency, Donald Trump was letting out people that were wrongly convicted, okay, or their sentences were way too harsh for the crime, okay? The punishment didn't fit the crime. He got he got a lot of praise from it, from the right. He got some praise from the left. But here comes Biden, okay, trying to show the people that he can do the same thing. And who's he letting out? Okay, he's letting out a bunch of people that have hurt children, okay, that have destroyed lives, okay, whether they're adults or children. And once again, like I say, yet you have that little scumbag, okay, Harry Sisson, okay, to making it seem as if, everything that Trump does is wrong, everything that Biden does is right. And like I said, people, I hope you're still with me, because we're still going to play the redacted video. It gets good when you find out a certain name that pops up in a lot of this, okay? And it's not surprising, and like I said, it shocked me. I mean, it really shocked me when I found out. But when I seen what this kid put out, and then I'm looking at what the news is putting out, the mainstream media is not putting this out. They are not putting out many of the individuals that Biden has pardoned, okay, because they should not have been let out. They have truly destroyed lives. It reminds me when Obama was leaving the White House, okay, when he started pardoning people, he wound up pardoning some Puerto Rican dude. I forgot his name, but the guy was put in prison for some terroristic bombings from back in the 70s. Okay, he was supposed to be like some anti-government freedom fighter, okay, for the Latino community. And you wind up letting him out. And it's like, why would you let somebody go that was convicted of killing people? You know what I'm saying? And yet the Democrats think this is okay. It's like right now you have so many people on the left, okay, and they're trying to project it to people on the right. So many people on the left leaving all kinds of nasty comments, and I call them nasty, I should say disgusting comments, of the CEO that got shot from the healthcare company, praising the guy that killed him. Okay, now don't get me wrong. I know nothing about that CEO, nothing like that. If anybody wants to know my opinion about the whole healthcare system, I think it's shot. I think it just needs to be demolished and rebuilt. But I'm not saying that anybody should go out there and murder somebody over it. But it's like the left have this damn fascination with just destroying lives, destroying kids' lives, people's lives, murder, I mean abortion, you name it. They are fascinated with this shit, man. They truly are. It's just like, why would you even let out a judge that destroyed children's lives? As a matter of fact, I'm not even understanding how this man was even let out of prison. Okay, because what happened is they said that he had about 1.5 years left on his sentence. So Joe Biden just went and just basically sped it up and let him out. But yet Harry Sisson is saying that Joe Biden is letting people back out of prison that are going to better serve the community. How? How does a guy that got arrested 2 years ago for having child pornography better serve the community? He's only been in prison 2.5 years? How does a man who went and destroyed children's lives years ago in Pennsylvania, a judge at that, okay, that was supposed to be serving the community, no, he was doing it to line his pockets with money. How is he going to better serve the community by letting him out early? How is the woman that embezzled $53 million freaking dollars from a small town in Illinois, destroyed families' lives, okay, how is she going to better serve the community? It's incredible. It's incredible the way these leftists, the way Joe Biden is, if not the biggest, okay? But he is definitely, in my opinion, a traitor to this country and to the people. Okay? We're going to finish listening to this, and we're going to go back watching the video of Redacted, so you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about, of someone else that's involved in this whole sick child, I mean, just disgusting ring, okay, of chaos that's going on. Here we go.
And it just leaves that open question, though. What's going on? Like, why, Biden? Meanwhile, Selena, you wrote this recently, but the Trump administration says exactly right. So that you wrote this headline back in January. Trump's track to victory began when train derailed. So, and now the Trump administration, incoming, at least Stephen Chung, who's the incoming communications coordinator, said 100%. This was the moment that really set the campaign on a trajectory to victory. The ripples from that day did not get enough attention. Talking about the train derailment in East Palestine, how this showed the difference in these two versions of leadership.
So I remember him showing up. There's this photo I have, he has galoshes on, or I'm dating myself by saying galoshes. But, look at that photo. You don't know what you're walking in, right? This is days after that derailment. And not only does he show up, he shows up with 18-wheelers. I think there were 2 of them. I just remember them coming down Main Street and thinking, oh, wow, this is a big deal. With crates of water, he bought tons of people, McDonald's. More importantly, he showed up. He showed up and he told people that I see you. And these are the kinds of voters, if your viewers...
Okay, I'm going to cut this. I'm just watching this fresh just like you guys. But, I mean, the campaign is over. But I understand where she's coming from. Trump is basically boots on the ground, trying to do the right thing, where Biden, okay, is just doing things that is just so... It's unimaginable, man, what this man is doing. How he's conducting himself. How he's letting people out of prison, okay, that don't deserve to be let out of prison. Okay, I'm not saying that they don't deserve to be forgiven, but you know what? If they were sent there to do their time, damn it, let them do their time. It's funny how he's going to forgive these people, okay, and yet there was innocent people at the Capitol, and some people not even at the Capitol, anywhere near it. They were away from it on January 6th, and they're freaking rotting in the gulags of Washington, D.C. Okay? But I'm going to digress on that because That has nothing to do with the original intent of my video. Now we're going to get to the rest of the video of Redacted, of what I was playing in the beginning, so you guys can see what exactly is going on with a lot of this child trafficking, okay, that is happening under the Biden administration. Way more, okay, way more, okay, than the Trump administration. But yet you still have people like Harry Sisson, okay, and all these other lefties out there, okay, whether it's mainstream media or social media, licking Joe Biden's boots, licking the saliva off his lips, making it seem as if this man truly cares. You think he truly cares? Let's listen to what this man on Redacted has to say. Here we go.
Absolutely. There's no possible way to move that many bodies, let alone children, out of a country, through a border, through another country, and into America, if you didn't have this, a well-oiled, dialed-in machine where you would compromise government officials on every level along the way. Change their laws. They wanted to make it illegal for the president to basically remove this attorney general from office. So that was 8 years ago. So fast forward to today. Guatemala just had an election in 2023. Their election was fraudulent. I was presented with enough evidence for me to actually review it, to see how their laws work and operate, and go, yes, without a shadow of a doubt, I would say that I can view enough fraud for the authorities to investigate this fraud. So that's what happened. Their government, their citizens have to present evidence to their attorney general. There was over 1,000 complaints of election fraud. The attorney general started to investigate, review all of these complaints, and she can't actually open an investigation into the Electoral College. She has to present the information to Congress, and Congress has to vote on it. So she now goes and presents this information and says, hey, there's enough evidence here for election fraud. Can I open this investigation? Congress had to vote on it. They have 160 members of Congress. Out of the 160, 108 of them said, yes, there's enough evidence here. We should investigate this election fraud. So she began the investigation. After that, Anthony Blinken goes to their government and...
Okay, people, now you heard the name, one of the names he just said, Anthony Blinken. That's not the name that I'm referring to that's going to blow your mind about this whole thing. Okay? Now you heard what he said, that he went there to go to find out about the child trafficking situation, which is what he went there for. This has everything to do with it. But right away, one of the key players in this, okay, is Anthony Blinken, once again, one of Biden's lapdogs, okay? But like I said, that's not the name that he's going to mention. Pay attention, it's going to blow your mind. Here we go.
Demands that he remove all of their visas. So the 100 politicians that voted to actually just investigate this election fraud, Blinken has since suspended their visas, and then he went a step further, and he suspended 400 visas that belong to their family, relatives, and friends.
Yep.
To put pressure on their government to basically fire this attorney general, because the attorney general is the only one, her office is the only office that actually has the ability to investigate the election fraud.
So that this is very similar, like to Hunter Biden in Ukraine, right? And so you have the Vice President of the United States, Joe Biden, who puts pressure then on the Ukrainian government and has the top prosecutor who's looking into these connections at Burisma and with Hunter Biden and John Kerry's stepson, I believe, and has him fired, thrown out, and
exactly.
Those documents essentially destroyed. So it's basically the same thing here.
100%, Clayton, and it gets worse. So since then, their government has been, their attorney general's office has been trying to contact government offices in America. For example, directly writing letters to Chris Wray of the FBI, directly writing letters to Secretary Blinken, directly writing letters to the House Oversight Committee. Nothing, not one.
Of course not.
Then fast forward to April of 2024. So this has been going on. Our State Department has constantly been putting pressure on the Guatemalan government. They have also been using previous ambassadors and high-profile players in America to do media hits on CNN and on all these woke news outlets, trying to put pressure and saying that Guatemalan Attorney General is corrupt. They're saying all of these accusations without any proof. So part of the investigation is their Attorney General's office trying to contact our government and saying, hey, you have government officials here in America that are making these claims about our Attorney General. We would like to see the evidence that you have to support those claims, because if not, that's defamation, and that's technically illegal in Guatemala. So why is our ambassador to Guatemala slandering our Attorney General without any evidence to back that up? So then in April 27th, I believe was the exact date, the Attorney General has enough evidence to raid the foundation Save the Children. So Save the Children.
Okay, here it goes. Okay, people? You heard that so far. They're going to raid Save the Children. Everybody's heard of this organization before. Okay, when I heard this, I mean, this just turned my stomach. Okay? But listen, I mean, this will blow your mind. Okay? Just look at the article right here. Save the Children offices raided in Guatemala. Okay? They said over 200,000 children in Guatemala, okay, have been basically kidnapped, taken. Okay? This is going to blow your mind, people. Check this out.
Children has been raided in Guatemala for trafficking children. 10 days after this, Clayton, 10 days after the Attorney General raids the foundation Save the Children, Senator Blinken, not on a planned trip, makes a surprise trip to Guatemala, sits down with their government, full press conference, holds a press conference saying that they need to investigate this Attorney General, that she is corrupt.
So Secretary of State Blinken, 10 days after they raid this NGO, it's an NGO that's facilitating the trafficking of children into the United States, labels her corrupt and wants an investigation. What happened? Do we know what happened with the investigation into Save the Children? What was she about to uncover?
The investigation, luckily, is still ongoing, Clayton. And because it is an ongoing investigation, it's similar here to in America, where they can't talk about an open or ongoing investigation. But from what I've been told by citizens and other people that can actually talk about it and aren't restricted, that it's a really big deal. And the evidence is damning. And they've went as far as writing letters to Ken Paxton. They've wrote letters to the House Oversight Committee, and all of them have gone unanswered, Clayton. So we're talking about 212,000 missing children, and the investigative agencies in Guatemala are contacting our agencies here in America saying, hey, where are these children? And they can't get a word. But Robbie Starbuck did an amazing investigation into this very specific topic as soon as it happened. And in his investigation, you want to know what he uncovered, Clayton? Guess who sits on the board of directors, or sat on the board of directors of Save the Children?
I was going to say Alejandro Mayorkas because he has his hands in all of these NGOs, but no, is that not Mayorkas? Is somebody else?
What about Jill Biden?
Jill or Joe?
Jill, Jill, Jill Biden.
There you go, people. Joe Biden, okay, the wife of former Vice President Joe Biden, will lead the board of trustees of Save the Children, a global humanitarian organization focused on keeping children safe from harm. I'm telling you, when I heard this, I didn't even know this. When I heard this, this blew my mind. It makes you wonder if all this is true. It makes you wonder how in the world did the sitting president of the United States right now, who has been scrutinized for the past 3 years, nearly 4 years, for all the missing children at the border, that his wife would be sitting on the board of trustees, okay, of Save the Children organization in Guatemala, and over 200,000 children in Guatemala are missing. Let's continue.
Biden is sitting or sat on the board of directors of an NGO that was just raided in Guatemala for trafficking children. 10 days later, Blinken flies down there and demands that the only person that can investigate this crime gets fired for corruption without any evidence or any proof to back up those accusations.
You believe that? The one attorney general that was investigating this, that has the power to do the right thing, Anthony Blinken from this country under Biden's administration, goes down to Guatemala to have her fired. Why? Meanwhile, you got people like Harry Sisson making it seem as if Joe Biden walks on water. I tell you, people, I've said it once, I've said it before, I'll say it again, and I'll keep saying it till otherwise. I believe that there are demons among us for this scandal to be this big and for it to be so quiet in Capitol Hill, on TV, in the mainstream media. It just blows your mind, man. How in the world is this woman, or how in the world was she on the Board of Trustees of Save the Children? Okay? They're being investigated for child trafficking. Anthony Blinken goes down to get the Attorney General from Guatemala, a government official from our government going down to another country to get another government official from their country fired, who is capable of investigating all these missing children, investigating all these organizations, these NGOs, and to have the power to get rid of that person, and the one person that you would think would be with her to find out who's missing all these children is the wife of the sitting president of our country.
Let me turn to the influence that is going on in Guatemala. You were recently there, and just before your visit, members of the Guatemalan Congress were threatened by our embassy there that they would lose their U.S. visas, and their kids who are studying here would lose their visas to study in America if they didn't support removal of Guatemala's Attorney General. Do you think the United States should be manipulating members of a foreign Congress in this manner?
Not a question of manipulating members of foreign Congress. It's the fact that in the recent election in Guatemala, there was a very strong attempt made to prevent the democratically elected president of Guatemala from taking office. There was an attempt to disrupt the inauguration of that president. And if we stand for democracy anywhere, we have to stand for it everywhere, including in Guatemala.
So is the State Department's opposition to the Attorney General at all related to her recent investigations to determine if the Biden administration's complicit in the trafficking of children into the United States? Nothing to do with that? Correlation, not causation?
That is absurd.
Good to hear.
You see the way he said that? That is absurd, and then he looked down.
Administration's complicit in the trafficking of children into the United States? Nothing to do with that? Correlation, not causation?
That is absurd.
And then he looks down. Let me tell you something. People, I'm telling you, you know, when you have all these leftist shows on MSNBC, on mainstream media, social media, and they are projecting so much, but something like this, that's why I say that the Democrat Party, the people in power, they are for death and destruction. They don't care about human life. They don't care about Americans. They don't care about foreigners. They don't care about our children. They don't care about somebody else's children from another country. I mean, how does this happen? How does this happen? How in the hell does the president, does the wife of the president, okay, go and sit down in an organization to another country, not our country, another country, okay, and all this scandal comes up, and then the key players in that country that can unravel what's going on and bring out the truth, they get fired. They get taken off the case, or whatever the case is. How does that happen? How does that happen? And then all we keep hearing, okay, is that it's conspiracy theories, it's that it's a lie, is that people in the other countries, they're the ones that are bad, is the people in our country on the right that we're the ones that are bad, but yet the left, the Bidens, all of them, they're on the up and up. They got people, again, like Harry Sisson up there saying that Joe Biden did this great thing. I wonder, and he probably doesn't even know this information, but I wonder if that kid Harry Sisson found out this information and found out for it to be true. I wonder if he's still going to go there and lick the saliva off Joe Biden's mouth. It's insane, people. When I heard this, this blew my mind. I did not even know that that woman had anything to do in another country. I mean, I've never even heard, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe it does happen, I don't know, but I've never heard of the president's wife being in charge, okay, or sitting on a seat in an organization in another country. I've never heard of it. And if I'm wrong, somebody leave it in the comments. I don't know. But are you kidding me? All these missing children. Okay? And obviously this has come up before, and this is the first time I'm even watching, when I watched this earlier, watching this interview that they're giving Anthony Blinken. This is how hush-hush they keep a lot of this information. I mean, it's just incredible. If you guys want to watch the rest of this, go to the channel Redacted, show him some love. He put this out a couple of days ago, I believe it was. You can't miss it. Okay, so you guys can watch the rest. Because, I mean, this, you guys got to watch the rest. For sake of time on my channel, on this video, I'm going to leave it at this. Okay, so you guys can go and watch the rest on Redacted's channel. But people, this has gone way beyond the pale. This is not something anymore about the children are missing while they're crossing the border. No, this is way beyond the border, man. This is taking place way beyond the border. You know, if anybody would have came out and said that these are organizations, crooked organizations in another country that we're trying to get to, one can say, you know what, okay, there's going to be a lot of red tape for that. Okay, we've really got to get together with their government, find out who they're willing to give up, and see where we go from there. But to have the president's wife, the president of the United States' wife, okay, was part of an organization, and the organization is being investigated for child trafficking. I don't want to hear shit from anybody or any mainstream media about January 6th anymore, about how Trump is going to destroy the economy, about how Trump is going to take away people's rights or lock people up because you're black or gay or whatever the hell it is, because it's ridiculous. This stuff is going on, and you got people here on the left bringing up stuff that is not even true, and they won't even cover something like this, if not only for the children's sake. They won't even bring it up. It's unbelievable, man. It is totally unbelievable. But anyway, that's what I got for you. Don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe, pass the channel around. And if you can help support the channel, there's a link in my description to my Cash App and my merch store. So remember, people, stay vigilant. Keep praying for each other. Keep praying for the women and the children. Pray for this country. Pray for your enemies. And pray for Donald Trump. Peace.